Hey, how's everyone doing tonight? Desi here. Hey, I want to talk about moving with your heart. You know, the Bible says that anger and hatred land in the lap of fools. And so you see a lot of people out here moving with anger and hatred. And, the best revenge that you can have on these people is just not to be like them, to show them something different. And, this anger and hatred that they hold inside for different people for whatever reason that they do, I don't understand these people. So, but the anger and hatred that they hold inside, that just destroys their own vessel. It does more, just like a poison, the vessel that a poison is holding, it does like a lot of damage to that. And so I don't know. The best revenge is success and to not be like them. You don't want to be drugged down into their low vibrations. You know what I mean? Like, so let's just learn to move with the heart and learn to lift one another up and just get out of the situation when there's people like that. You don't need that in your life. It's easy to cut the cord and walk away from, these situations and not be around these energy vampires that are just going to try to get you to start a fight just so that they can feed off of your energy. Um, so really just learning to move with the heart, is a beautiful thing, I believe when you live in the mind, you're really pretending to live. You're living under like a disguise because, this is the mind is the mask that, that you've created to live in this world, and like I've always said before, we all do this, growing up, we create these different masks that we we're because it's as a like a protection to protect ourselves from certain things that's happened in the past, and so we all have these masks that we wear for certain situations, but learning to drop these down and move with the heart, that's when you truly start to live because you're living from something that's pure and you're not thinking about it, you're going with the moment, and when you do that, beautiful things happen because you're gonna, you're living without a safety net, kind of, you're really putting yourself out there. And a lot of people are afraid to do that because they're afraid of, being hurt. Everyone's so afraid of love and so many things that they just build these walls up, and I've heard this one poem. It says, we build these walls up to see who will break them down. And I always thought that was a beautiful poem, but I also think that we as people in society, we have to learn to break our own walls down and find the love within ourselves so that we can share that with others. And as we all begin to break our own walls down and share, your heart with others, you begin to open a new world for all of us because, love touches people in so many different ways. It radiates out from you. And I mean, you could tell when you go into a room, just by the energy alone, like, who's who's a, decent person and who's not, or at least I can. I think maybe that's all of us empaths, or whatever, but you can tell like who's hiding and who's open. And so, let's just make these connections to where we can all open up, but even if it's just a little bit at a time, learn to creak that door open, or break that one brick down in the wall, and let's start moving forward in love because it really is going to take us a lot further and progress us on our healing path than it is if we're going to hide behind these masks and walls all of our life, and then we're never really going to experience what true love is, because true love is, is overwhelming. You when you start feeling and experiencing true love, like, there's days where, you're just gonna break down and cry, and just from tears of joy and happiness because, you feel so overwhelmed with, the way that things are going and the blessings that are coming into your life. And even if you can't see them, like, it's happening because you're like getting these waves of emotions. And it's a beautiful thing to start to experience this. It's like peeling the layers off of all of these, defenses that we put up within our own self, and to really shut ourself of the ego, and to really learn to live through the heart is going to be so beautiful, for all of us, and we are going to create a better world. So, just a little quick message for tonight. But I hope that you all can try doing this, and try, taking them chances and jump when the heart tells you to, and really just put yourself out there a little bit. And even if it does hurt every now and again, it's better to experience it than just to always sit on the couch and wonder. Let's all live life. That's what we're here for. So let's take a chance at living, and if you do, I guarantee you're gonna love it. All right. Till next time, let's make this world a better place together.